And we're back. Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. And we're going to revisit this story of Alex Preddy, what's going on in Minnesota, and dig into this idea of just because you can, meaning legally, should you? And what things tie into that? Ethics, morals, considerations beyond just what the law says. Here's a couple thoughts. So first of all, if you saw the video we did the other day, if you watched it, if you shared it, if you commented, good, bad, right, or wrong, thank you. We got thousands of comments across platforms on this. Some people that said very nice things, which, pat me on the back, that feels good. Some people that said some not so nice things. And something that's very interesting is how the same piece of information can make one person go, and it can make the other person go, F that, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. Well, that's our preconceived ideas, right? The things that really build who we are, the community that we're in, the way our parents raised us, the religion or lack thereof in our life, the totality of our thoughts and dominating attitudes, all kinds of stuff affects how we perceive the world. And the interesting thing about people is we like to align ourselves with people that think like us. Hence, political parties, fraternal orders, neighborhoods, sports teams, etc. We're pretty tribal. What's interesting, though, is facts, right? Facts, even when we have them, we still can interpret those facts to validate or invalidate something as we see fit. The law is interesting in that we should be able to objectively view something through the eyes of the law, but the law is created by man, and man is a very subjective beast. I had some people comment, I'll never follow you again. I've lost faith in you. Well, how sad. How sad that because we disagree with somebody, we won't listen to them. Is that the vacuum of your life that you put yourself in? In fact, that is the number one way to never learn. And I'm not saying learn from me, but in general, if we don't agree with something, so we just don't view it, you will never grow. You will not grow as a musician, an artist, a baker, a pilot, a cop, a leader, a parent, anything, if you just shun any information that you disagree with. Next point, when we allow our emotions to control how we see the world, and emotions are real. Me and my brother were just talking. I just became a great uncle. And as I'm looking at pictures, my brother and I are talking. Him and his son had this like warm embrace where they sobbed, this new baby, and that's magical and that's amazing, right? You guys have probably, some of you, seen the sunrise or sunset and just felt tears coming down your face. I'm not even talking about something that makes you sad, like laying a loved one to rest, but there are just things that move us, and that's wonderful. That's magical. But when my emotions of rage and anger and upset stop me from actually looking at something objectively, where I can maybe take this lens off, this lens of all the things I think I know, it's really hard to grow. Now, I'm not saying I know everything, but I know some things, and you know some things. So for some of you that think what happened in Minnesota was murder and it was horrific and it was terrible, okay, you're on this side of my chair. For those of you that think it was law enforcement's duty to do that, and all of this is only happening because bad liberals created this situation, and if that guy had never done this and that, it would never happen, and, protect that thin blue line, you're over here. But what if both sides were at fault? And I see some people in comments that say things like, you are protecting the police, or you are making excuses for this or that. No, I'm just trying to objectively look at something without injecting it full of emotions. I'm going to add one more point. Last video we did was nearly 40 minutes long, and there was a lot of people that didn't like that I had to use words for 40 minutes. I'm sorry, not every topic is a short. Not every topic is a death scroll 5-second clip. Not every topic is a porno ad. Not every topic is cartoon quality. I mean, let's get real. I'm looking at hundreds of books over here. I can't take one of them and put a summary together of a 30-second soundbite out of something that's hundreds of pages. When we're talking about life and death in law, in morals, and feelings, and emotions, and all of these things, I'm sorry if you just don't have the time to hold on to actually dig into that. Now, there might be somebody out there that is a lot better at that than me. Go check that out. My point here isn't to entertain you. My point here is not to make you feel like you learned something as fast as possible. I'm communicating. If you don't like it, see ya. Hit the road. You don't need to waste the time to write in the comments that you have to go, because what you're really saying there is, pay attention to me as I walk out the door. As you got your little bindle stick over your shoulder, take a look. Bye. Adults here. Onwards. Next point. In the space that I'm in, this idea of self-defense, personal protection, we've got this overarching goal. Anybody that's ever trained me has heard me ask the question, why are you here? Why are we training? I want to get better at this. I want to shoot better. I want to, do these things better. That's not the answer I'm looking for. Why? Why do you want to do that? It always comes down to protecting life. Okay, why? Why do you want to protect life? That's still not the answer that I'm searching for. And it really comes down to, you want to be alive. You enjoy your life enough that you want to protect it and make it last as long as possible, which goes into a couple other facets. If I am living a long, full life, right? That's the overarching apex goal. Live a long, full life. Notice I never said just long, full. Well, the full part is yours to fill in the blank, right? That might be long walks on the beach. It might be watching great grandkids. It might be getting a black belt. It might be becoming an author, learning to play the cello. Do all of the above or none, but that's your job. What fills you is your job. If we are engaged in hate, consternation, evil, sleepless nights, cortisol-filled bloodstreams, rage, where we can't speak to our brothers or sisters because we so disagree on a topic, to me, that ain't full. But again, it's yours to fill. So if that's like the totality of your life, if you're the Grinch or Oscar the Grouch, cool, man. I personally have no interest. When we take a step back from these situations, and we're talking self-defense right now, we're not talking about up north in Minnesota or down south if you live north of Minneapolis. I do not engage in violence if my overarching goal is to live a long, full life. I don't engage in violence needlessly. When would I need to? When I'm forced to, when it's the only choice. And it's the only choice because I've done everything else in my power to not. Hard stop. Time is required to make better choices, which is why we have this idea of reasonableness of our actions. Is it reasonable what happened? Based on the totality of the circumstances, case law, what we know of human interactions, yeah, it's reasonable to understand that fairly untrained dudes acting a certain way in a chaotic situation, somebody heard the word gun, somebody fired, sympathetic fire started happening, and somebody's dead. It's reasonable for me to understand that. Is it right? Did it have to happen? This is what I was trying to drive towards the other day, getting you to think, not me to think for you. Pardon me that I didn't spoon feed you. But just because we can do something, even if those cops can articulate it, and every jury in America would say, I understand it, did we have to do it? So for those of you that think Preddy did not have to die, I agree. I do believe that there was 1,000 factors that could have changed him not dying. The simplest one, don't go there. That said, it's a free country, and if I have a right to go there, I can take that off the table. If I have a right to be there, you don't get to tell me not to go, right? Perhaps multiple factors happened. Multiple factors happened. If I am engaged, and I will repeat what I said earlier, in a situation where I know there are humans, if I understand that humans like me make mistakes, raise your hand if you ever made a mistake. Raise your hand if you ever acted emotional. Raise your hand if you ever allowed yourself to become emotionally charged out of anger or fear, right? All of us are capable of it. We see like the stories of Sully landing on the Hudson River and he ice in his veins, right? That is training and experience coming to bear that you get that outcome. If I understand that other people around me, cops, ICE agents, soldiers, whoever, are humans predisposed to failure, predisposed to maybe not being perfect in chaotic situations. The only choice that I can control is what I do. Knowing what I know about other human beings and understanding that I want to live a long, full life, I should make choices that support that. When I choose to engage in a death dance and make no effing mistake, if I am in a situation where I know people have already been killed, i.e., Minneapolis, and then I am standing face to face with guys that I don't know. I have no idea of the level of agitation, of their training, of what they're willing to tolerate, of their level of fear, exhaustion, etc. Why in the flying heck would I, if I care about my well being, create a situation where I can light the match? Now, for those of you that are on this side with Preddy, he had a right and all those things are true. They are true. But he also does not have a right to impede law enforcement. There seems to be some misunderstanding about the footage that's available. There seems to be some misunderstanding about looking at what happened leading up to this. I don't believe this guy was evil from what I've seen. I think he probably was a pretty good dude living by his convictions, which that alone is a check in the plus box for me. Stand by what you believe in. Hang your neck out there for the things that are important to you. That is facta non verba, one of our sayings. Facta non verba is Latin for deeds and not words. He was living it. That's freaking badass. He was providing aid to somebody that needed it. But again, I reiterate, if you're on this side, just because you have the legal authority to do a thing, should you? Here's an example. We see these situations where maybe a young person does something foolish and they've got something in their hand that could be misconstrued in the darkness or in a quick situation to be a firearm. That was a sanding block from a recent video teaching people how to sharpen knives. And you shoot that person just because you can articulate it. Did it had to happen? If I have the ability to control somebody, if I have the ability to control myself, if I have the ability to change the course of events, because my true job as an officer of the law is to protect and to serve. And yes, the charter of ICE is to uphold immigration law, but why? What's the overarching apex goal? It is to serve the public. It is to help maintain law and order in the state in regards to the state of immigration, to keep good people in, bad people out, all of that good stuff. Why? To create a country where citizens can live free and safe. If the choices and things that I do lead to upheaval, I am literally degrading the foundation of my apex goal. So the guys over here that are saying smoke them, light them up, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, are missing the point of why cops exist. They exist to help create a situation where the rest of us, I spent the day doing accounting, pulling my hair out. The whole purpose of all of it is to pay the government money so that we can have roads and lights and all these things. The whole point of coppers, and you're friends of mine that I always like to remind you, I pay your salary, I do. So if you don't get the joke, don't. It's not a joke. The rest of us literally pay your salary. Hi, you're welcome. So that you can go out and serve as you do honorably, almost all of you, so that we have a place that we can safely raise our kids, chase the things that move us, like playing the cello or learning to frickin' fly airplanes, whatever the thing is. We have to be able to look at both sides objectively with an open mind and heart without allowing rage to fill us. The last couple days, I got to tell you, looking at some of these comments, I'm concerned for some people's families. I'm concerned for people in the community by some of these commenters. Because if you would allow a video on your little screen, in my words, somebody you probably don't even know, to get you so enraged, what happens in the real world when somebody pushes you a little bit? Are you the guy that draws down and dumps 5 or 10 rounds because your trigger is so close to the edge of breaking, you can't handle it? That goes for both sides. My buddy Z, Paul, Rob, and I, we have this idea that we share in the S12 event. Exposure equals composure. The more I'm exposed to a thing, with correct inputs, thoughts, training, etc. This can go for anything. The more composed I will become. Exposure equals composure. If I don't expose myself to differing viewpoints or ideas or ideologies, how will I ever grow? If we allow ourselves to become so disoriented because we disagree that we lose our shit, you are not an adult. You probably should not have the right to vote. You probably should not carry a gun or drive a car. That right there set a couple of you off, and I chose my words carefully just to give you that little twist on the inside. How dare you say that? Who cares what I say? Who cares? You get to live your own life, make choices that protect you and yours, but also look out for the greater good. We have this duty called civic duty. If you don't know what it is, I suggest that you Google it. There is a reason that our foundations were sought out from both the Greeks and the Romans, the republic and the democracy. Oh, we're a republic. We're a democratic republic. This idea of doing the right thing, not just for me, but for my neighbor, for my brother, for the republic, for the whole, is something that our founders very much believed in, something that we have to instill in our children, something that we have to instill in our neighbors and in our cops and in our lawmakers and in us. Be well. Don't be dickheads. Tell somebody you love them. Take a pause. Think about the things that are happening. What's my role in them? What's the apex goal of my life, not just today, but for all of it? And let's go find that. I'll see you soon. CarryTrainer.com. Do check out my friends at Super Bell Ammunition back there over my shoulder, and SecureItTactical.com for good storage solutions for all the important stuff that you got to put under lock and key. Peace.